Whether you're doing KvK Season 2 for the very first time or you're an experienced veteran, I want to share with you the things I have learned so far revisiting this KvK format when I migrated back to KvK Season 2. Hello my friends and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, and on my 83 million power account, I migrated back to KvK Season 2 to do it all over again with the group I've been playing with since I started playing on this restart account, which, by the way, is now 789 days old. So in this video, I'm going to share with you 3 different types of lessons that were very important. I'm going to share with you the commanders that are top tier. I'm going to talk about the pace of the fight and the things you really need to know. And last but not least, I am going to talk about how to fight in KvK Season 2 because, my gosh, there are things that are happening that were just eye-popping. But before we begin, allow me to thank the sponsor of the video, Infinite Galaxy. In Infinite Galaxy, you explore the vastness of space to claim territory, battle fierce foes, and yes, take down other players. In this game, you'll be building a collection of flagships. You'll use those to wage war with your collection of war ships, whether it's the sprightly frigate, the mid-sized destroyer, or the massive cruisers. Your fleet will go head-to-head against opponents in space combat and in the campaign. But it wouldn't be much of a fleet without its crew. Your crew will help define and customize the way that your team works together as you build out the most amazing space station the galaxy has ever seen, building up and constructing things from your headquarters to your military center to make sure you're ready for the next encounter. Along the way, you'll do a ton of research, advancing your space station's capabilities in both situations against players and in situations that help you build up and get stronger. What happens next in this game? Well, my friends, it's entirely up to you. If you want to try out Infinite Galaxy, check out the link in the description to download the game. That will support the channel, and you can join my Nebula. Nebula 13. We've got a server versus server experience coming very soon that I'm super hyped about. So consider joining us in Nebula 13. Use the link in the description to download. Let's start with the commanders that are absolutely top tier in KvK Season 2, and I expected this would be the case. In fact, I made a dedicated video for the very best pairs you should use in KvK Season 2. I'll have a card up in the top. You can use the little info button to go check that out. But the commanders that were just absolutely amazing include Esong, Alexander the Great, obviously, Richard I, Charles Martel is an all-star, Edward and Tamaris, Constantine, Saladin. These commanders were absolutely freaking amazing and have been all throughout. And some of them, by the way, are not only good at just fighting in the field, but they're also in Rally and Garrison. And Charles Martel is one of those commanders. He rallies, he garrisons, he field fights. The dude is absolutely freaking amazing. In fact, let me tell you about the very best rallies that I have seen so far. That includes Banana freaking Helmet with either Edward or Tamaris. And you know, this commander, Edward of Woodstock, just loses a ridiculous amount of value later on. But my God, man, all of this KvK, if we're sending archers, it's an Edward rally. That's what it is. No Esong El Cid, really. At this point, you need to have advanced. You need to have evolved to the Edward of Woodstock with either Esong or Tommy. Also, Alexander the Great with Charles freaking Martel, man, is a phenomenal rally combo. This was good when I first did KvK Season 2, and it's still the freaking jam if you want to rally with infantry. You would do that, by the way, if you're rallying into a cavalry garrison. I'm going to talk about that in a second. That's right, KvK Season 2 has an all-star cavalry garrison. But if you were going to rally cavalry, by the way, then Saladin with Khan is still a solid choice. I don't love it, but it's still quite solid. And, I mean, Saladin, I think I mentioned him earlier as kind of an all-star commander. He is another commander where he's freaking amazing in the field. He is really good in a rally, and he's great as a garrison. Shockingly good. So the top garrisons, and neither the Rallies nor the Garrisons are in any particular order here in which I'm sharing them with you, but Saladin Esong is a sick garrison. It's really good in KvK Season 2. It is a way to try to counter the archer rallies, which are very strong, with a cavalry unit. I like that a lot. The Esong AOE, however, is crucial. If you don't garrison with Esong, you're probably doing it wrong, and not really doing it wrong. That's rude and not really what I mean, but I'm going to talk in a bit about AOE and garrisons, and it's just beyond freaking OP in this flavor of KvK. Martel with Esong is also very strong. Constantine with Esong is very strong. Hypothetically, Esong and Tommy or El Cid would be good in garrison, although I personally haven't seen that be used yet. El Cid is actually, like, shockingly good in a garrison context, which I know you're like, wait, seriously, El Cid? But once you get below 50%, the 25% all damage is really, really nuts. And if you leave wounded marches in a flag, you can start the rally with 25% bonus all damage, which is kind of nuts. You have instant proc damage, which is fine. The disable effect here is fine. Honestly, El Cid is surprisingly good in a garrison context. It's weird. Now, again, I didn't see anybody use this, but I actually think there could be something here. That doesn't mean it hasn't been happening. I just didn't see it. Now, when it comes to epic commanders in KvK Season 2, only the really best of the best hit the field, and the ones that aren't the best of the best get freaking obliterated within seconds. Those best of the best commanders include Sun Tzu, Bjorn, and Joan of Arc. Sometimes you see a Kusunoki, sometimes you see a Pelagius, sometimes you see Baibars or Belisarius. But for the most part, if you're not using Sun Tzu or Joan of Arc or Bjorn, your epic commanders are going to get kind of wrecked in the open field. They will get prioritized. They will get targeted. You need to hide them behind a legendary commander for sure if you want to try to use an epic. And even Ethelfled, who I did not list as a top tier commander, she is fine in the field, but I very, very, very frequently got focused when I brought Ethelfled out. And like, yeah, which march are you going to focus? The Alex primary? Or are you going to focus the Charles Martel primary or the Ethelfled primary? You're going to go for the Ethelfled, assuming that it's a free-to-play player with not a lot of tech, who you probably can wreck. And let's talk now about the pace of the fight in this KvK. This is the second major topic I really wanted to hit on, because the pace of the fight in KvK Season 2 is very, very, very dramatically different than Season of Conquest. And there is still plenty of field fighting to be had, but let's face a reality for a second, which is that in this flavor of KvK, even though there is still a lot of land that you're battling for, I mean, you can see we were battling for a Curie, we did get this zone, there's a huge amount of land here, and there's a lot of open space even, right? This open space is very unlike Season of Conquest and what it's like to battle in later on KvKs. This open space, and I will say the lack of field fighting is because most people aren't actually T5 yet. And this means that there is less field fighting and less field presence because not every single player is fighting in the field. Only the ones who feel like they've got the resources to do that actually go and fight in the field. So even though in, unlike a Season of Conquest KvK where, my goodness, man, there are some people who are really teched up and they've got a big advantage, but everybody still is trying to, fight in the field. Here, I think that people are just a lot more conservative because they just don't have the resources to give. And even I, don't have the resources to give for crazy amounts of open field fighting. I just don't. Now, the other thing you need to know about the pace of the fight that's very important is that the zone design is encouraging 2v1 situations. In other words, the corner kingdoms, gosh bless them, are very likely to find themselves either with another kingdom and able to kind of work together in a 2v1 in their favor, or to be 2v1'd against and then locked in their corner, which is really, really rough. But this first zone, unless, I mean, it's It's either all allies in the zone that you first move into, or you're going to 2v1 somebody, or you're going to get 2v1'd, right? There's 3 kingdoms, so 3 kingdoms having access to the same zone means that people are going to get teamed up on, and that's frequently what happens. Keep that in mind when you think about the pace of the fight here. Getting teamed up is very common, and because these are young kingdoms, people don't know what to do or expect unless you have an experienced group that migrates back, like what we did, which, I mean, I've got to give kudos to the leadership of the kingdom that I'm in 2293. Like, they have been doing, I mean, look, I'm in the middle of an 8 Imperium KvK on my main account. It's a little crazy, but from what I have been able to experience, like, I pop on, there's very clear direction about where to go and when to go there and what to do. Right? Like, even now, you can see there's markers. Like, exactly what you're supposed to do is on the screen. And if you don't know what you're supposed to do, you just get in voice and you ask. And that's been, I think, really good. The final thing I want to talk about for the pace of the fight is just, it's very important for your kingdom to manage its downtime. I feel like we gained a lot of ground during the opposing kingdom's downtimes. And by being fairly active around the clock, we were able to get just like really good, I think, free-ish progress at times. And I think a part of that is that we're facing a 5v3 fight. And the reason that we're in a 5v3 fight, I think, also has to do with potentially less experienced leadership. And I thought what I had been told originally was that there was a betrayal of some kingdoms, and one kingdom that was in an enemy group flipped to our side because of a betrayal. What I have subsequently been informed is that it was not exactly a betrayal, and that betrayal is really not the way to characterize it at all. It's that there was an agreement, apparently, about rewards and who would get what, and another kingdom went back on or wanted to change that arrangement, and they couldn't see eye to eye, so much so that one of the kingdoms was like, F it, I'm just going to join the other group. Don't even care. I don't know the details. I don't know exactly how that unfolded. So I feel a little weird sharing that information because it might not be entirely true, but I think it's directionally correct for what had happened. So you need to expect that kingdom leadership is either not going to know how to manage partnerships such that somebody leaves the group, or people are going to have different expectations. Like, it's just the wild freaking West, man, in KvK Season 2. Which brings me to something very important. The most important thing in this video, in fact, which is how to fight in KvK Season 2. And I would like to be able to show you a rally or garrison right now where you could see this happening. And I did stream this, so maybe I'll put a card up in the top for the stream where this is happening. But, like, people don't understand how to stay out of flag AOE. Flag area of effects, specifically area of effect damage, kills troops. 100% dead troops hit by AoE, even if they're not attacking the flag, even if they're just trying to reinforce the dang flag. And I have to say, it's freaking garrison meta all the way, because you will trade so positive on your AoE from Esong. You basically have to have an Esong in your garrison. If you don't put an Esong, you don't get the free value of killing enemy troops who don't know what they're doing, and nobody knows what they are doing for how to reinforce a flag in KvK Season 2. It is nuts. They don't know how to rain a flag. They don't know how to rain a rally. And the people that try to rain the rally are just going to get hit by so much AoE. It's insane. Esong is freaking god tier. I have been making tier lists for a very long time. I'll put a card up in the top for one of my tier lists as well. Esong freaking destroys people with his AoE. If there's any one thing that you learn from this video, I hope it is that you need to very, very carefully position your troops when you are around a flag, because everybody is getting dunked. Freaking dunked by Esong AoE. It is nuts. So if you get hit by Esong AoE, don't feel bad. You're in good company with literally everybody else in the KvK with you. But if you could actually get your kingdom to not get dunked by that Esong AoE, ooh, what an advantage. And the converse of that is also true, or inverse of that. Just use Esong in the garrison. It's just, no matter what you're garrisoning with, I think you just got to put them as the secondary, because they are going to get hit by that AoE. And of course, without getting into all the nitty-gritty of what new players do in KvK, a lot of people will rain rallies and flags from way too far away, effectively completely wrecking the Rally or Garrison, and it's in some ways worse in this KvK because a flag only has 1.5 million capacity, which is like really weird to me. I'm used to 2 million. A fort only has 2 million capacity. This is really weird to me. I'm used to 3 million. But when you've got like somebody with a 50% expansion and they've got like 300,000 troops that are reinforcing from like 10 minutes away, blocking up 1/5, a full 1/5 of what could be in that flag. My God, man. It is just devastating for the freaking flag or the Rally when people are reinforcing from too far. It's really gross. But those are my big takeaways so far from KvK Season 2. It's been really fun. I wish I had more time to play. I kind of feel bad that I haven't had more time to play than I have, but man, this 8 Imperium KvK with some of the strongest kingdoms in the game has been just absolutely bananas. If you want to see what that's been like, I'll have a card up in the top for that playlist. It's just freaking nuts, man. If you enjoyed this video, throw a like on here. Consider subscribing. I'll probably make a couple more videos about KvK Season 2 because we're not done yet. And then there'll be KvK Season 3. You're not going to want to miss how the meta shifts and everything that we learn from that as well. So subscribe. And until next time, you have fun smashing your enemies.